Am I audible? Technical team members, can anyone respond? Am I audible?
Yes, Vishnu.
Thank you. Program committee members, shall we start or should we wait for another few minutes?
Vishnu, we'll start. We'll start now. You can continue. Start.
Okay. So a very good afternoon to one and all. I feel privileged to extend a very warm welcome to everyone who have gathered here for the second day of the SWARAJ Conference 2021 with a theme on children, human rights, and social work. So let's begin with the Rajagiri anthem.
Reaching out to souls come seeking righteous ways. Hello, am I audible? Hello?
Yes.
Am I
Yes,
audible,
yes.
technical team?
You can continue.
Thank you. Dr. Anil John completed his post-graduation in social work with specialization in clinical social work. He holds PhD in social work from Mahatma Gandhi University, Kottayam. He was awarded as one of the 2015-16. His areas of interest are disaster, geriatric care, and migrants and refugees. He is also a research fellow in UGC DAAD project on culturally competent practice with refugees and migrants in India and the USA on oncology, social work, and Indian perspective. Let me take this opportunity to invite Dr. Anil John, Assistant Professor, Department of Social Work at Rajagiri College of Social Sciences, to deliver the welcome address for the day and also brief us with the recap of day one. Over to you, sir.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So a warm good afternoon to all of us gathered here to participate in the second day of SWARAJ conference on children, human rights, and social work. So the duty entrusted to me is to provide a recap of day 2 held yesterday, 25th June 2021. The Department of Social Work at Rajagiri College of Social Sciences Autonomous witnessed the first day of the two-day conference on SWARAJ on the theme Children, Human Rights and Social Work, which was held on 25th June 2021 via Zoom. There were more than 100 participants in the meeting. The program started with a prayer song. Dr. Rajiv Vestri, Assistant Professor and Faculty Coordinator of SWARAJ, Rajagiri College of Social Sciences, welcomed Dr. Binoy Joseph, Principal, for his conference and Joseph, CMI, head of the department, for his inspiration and guidance. Ms. Preeti Patkar, resource person and chief guest of the day. She's from Prerana Foundation. And Dr. Kiran Thambi, assistant professor, faculty members and students, research scholars and other delegates to the conference. He talked about the conference as a means of deliberation and learning. He also discussed about SWARAJ Students Club, which where many socially relevant themes are discussed frequently, and about the conference based on children, human rights, and social work. As next, Ansia Bhatta, student coordinator of SWARAJ, presented the annual report of SWARAJ. Dr. Father M.K. Joseph gave the presidential address. He welcomed the dignitaries and all the participants. He also mentioned the 4 basic rights of children declared by UNCRC, as it deepens the discussion on protecting the rights of children, especially of girl children. Dr. Binoy Joseph delivered the inaugural address. He pointed out the significance of children, human rights, and social work in the present day. He emphasized on the reasons for violation of children's rights, even in developed states like Kerala, especially of women and girl children. He further stressed on the roles of social workers as they are able to build perspective, awareness, and volunteering and committed NGOs to fight against the violation of rights of girl children. In addition, he thanked Ms. Preeti Patkar, social worker and founder, and executive secretary of Prerana Foundation, as the college has done many activities in collaboration with the foundation. He thanked all the participants. Ms. Preeti Patkar commenced the plenary session 1 on the theme Development Sector to the Rights of Girl Children. She thanked all the dignitaries and participants and appreciated the college for inviting her to the webinar. She highlighted the discrimination against the girl children and spoke from the perspective of feminism, her own journey as a professional social worker, her experience in red light area, and the role and the social evils faced by women and girl children on the wrong mentality of the society as on sex rights. As a solution to the problems, Ms. Preeti and her team started by cooperating co-creating solutions by making the community feel they have a problem and they are a part of the solution. She congratulated the Kerala government for announcing that schools be revised and educated to inculcate a culture of gender equality. She concluded saying, we need to co-create solutions, collaborate to create inclusions for the unincluded. This will enable and lead into a more progressive future. The participants were today's and asking questions at the end of the session. Dr. Kiran Thambi proposed the vote of thanks. Plenary session 2, breakout room 1, Joseph, Assistant Professor, Department of Social Work, Plenary College of Social Sciences, was the chair of the session. 7 papers from scholars, practitioners, and students from various colleges and institutes were presented. The papers were of descriptive, conceptual, and in-depth nature for the both breakout groups. Following are the titles and others who have presented the papers. I am not reading out the titles. In breakout number 2, Dr. Anish K. was there. Again, he is also a professor in the Department of Social Work at Ajiri College of Social Sciences. There were also 7 papers presented on the theme Children, Human Rights, and Social Work. There were also nearly 7 papers. Dr. Anish K. gave valuable comments and thought-provoking insights and delivered the vote of thanks towards the end of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for the warm welcome and for giving us the recap of the day 1. It really helped us to recollect the valuable knowledge that was shared yesterday. Now, we move on to the plenary session. The theme is Confronting the Barriers to Social Inclusion of the Marginalized in India. The lecture will be delivered by Ms. Girija Kumar Babu. Ms. Girija Kumar Babu is a former secretary of Indian Council of Child Welfare, Tamil Nadu, and has over 35 years of experience in the social service sector. She serves as a member in the Juvenile Justice Board, Chennai, and is the managing director of Sankalp, an NGO in Chennai that is committed to the cause of promoting the rights of girl children. She won the Best Social Worker Award 2009 from the Government of Tamil Nadu with the Chief Minister's Gold Medal and citation. She was also awarded the Outstanding Woman of Year 2009-2010 by the Inner Wheel Club Madras Cosmos. She holds several other portfolios, some being Member State Level Committee for the Prevention of Trafficking in Women and Children, Chairperson of the Subgroup on Trafficking and Child Protection of Tamil Nadu State Planning Commission, Co-Chairperson, Committee on Child Rights and Child Protection, etc. She has evolved a guidebook for grassroots level workers for training adolescent children and has co-authored a research study on the impact of legislation on the situation of child labor that was sponsored by National Labour Institute. She serves as a trainer for UNICEF and trains DTERT members on child rights and child protection. Ms. Girija Kumar Babu is also a social auditor recognized by the Social Audit Network India. She has served as the chairperson of the Social Audit Panel for cognizant outreach and non-profit organizations like Chennai Mission, BISO, and RASA. It is my honor to invite Ms. Girija Kumar Babu, former Secretary, Indian Council of Child Welfare, Tamil Nadu, to commence the session. Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, good afternoon to one and all. I am very happy to be here today because Rajagiri College is a leader, a pioneer in social work education, and we have been receiving students for block placement to the ICCW for quite some time. So from these interactions, we know that the college is really serious about training students and that they come out of the school with necessary knowledge and skills. Now, today we are going to talk about social inclusion. Whenever you say inclusion, then the corresponding word is exclusion. Because some people are excluded. Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, my slide. Yes, okay. So when we say inclusion, there is something called as exclusion. Because so many people have been excluded due to so many reasons, and we all know it's either religion, caste, income, where they are staying, all these things, we are excluding people. So to live in a harmonious life in the world, we need to be, everyone should come into it, and as stated in the definition, without any barriers and restrictions. Now, these are very important words. I'm not going to go into the details of all this, but students, please make a note of it because that's what we'll see next. Next slide, please. Yeah, next slide. Yes. Now, how do we get this? And what is the first known rights document? That is 1948. That is a human rights document. It is the forerunner to all other either agreements or treaties, international agreements, everything, because it starts from that. And next followed was the 1989, the rights of children. I think yesterday somebody has covered this very exhaustively. This is the first time we are talking about rights for children. And one of the basic principles of CRC is non-discrimination. We are not talking about discriminating. The word non-discrimination implies that the state gives equal opportunity. That is the most important thing, whether all children receive the same amount of opportunity. Just a ride down the road in any metropolis will know that it is not so. Children are being children get discarded everywhere. So then followed by this, there's two optional protocols. One was preventing appointment of child soldiers, and the other relating to media, online media. So next, see, all this has happened, but you will see that in the world, the crisis and wars have continued. Even after Second World War, we had the Vietnam wars going on. Then we had in the Afghanistan. So as a result of all this, children became destitute. They became so many children, thousands of them were left to fend for themselves. That only brought into focus the need for having alternate care for children. All children have a right to family, and when that is questioned, you have to have some other way of looking after the children. See, as once you accept the Convention on the Rights of Children, you become a duty bearer. So it is our duty to see that the children get a family-like situation to grow up into a complete adult. Next slide, please. Okay. See, this Sustainable Development Goals is very, very important. It talks about 17 goals, and you will see that there is no goal directly talking about child rights. But you will see everywhere, whether it is no poverty, no hunger, you cannot miss children. This Sustainable Development Goals were developed on the basis of an understanding that in order to have a complete development for children, it is very necessary that the adults, the caregivers, also are in a comfortable position in life without basic necessities not being fulfilled. This is very important, and it is inclusive. That's why right from climate to poverty alleviation, you will see that every aspect of our life has been condensed into these 17 goals, and this is the guideline for us social workers to take up work. Next one, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, in Indian Constitution, talks about 6 types of rights. These rights are given to us by the Constitution, and anything, if it is questioned, we have a right to go to the legal area. That is why the constitutional remedies is very, very important. When these rights are not followed, not adhered to, then we can always approach the legal departments for a proper decision to be made. Next one, please. Now, we saw that right from international arena to our country, so many documents, conventions have been created. We are supposed to adhere to that. Now, you know from practice that these are not being adhered, or maybe somewhere efforts are being made, but it's really not reaching the people. Now, you see, once you say social inclusion, all these questions have to be answered. That is, not necessarily, by the record. But by doing something, have they become into an exclusive cycle, or still they are excluded? Still there is no commonality of opportunities. That is the point that we will have to take. We'll just take a quick look at what's happening to children now. Now the gender ratio is 19,919 per thousand. Now what happened to the missing numbers? The nature says that if it is 500 male, there should be 400 female. Now continuously our gender ratio has been not in favor of women. What happens to the last? That is the important question, and that will lead you to the social practice of female infanticide. Now, if it was female infanticide, but now it is female feticide. Once you know that you are carrying a girl child, they abort the child. So, which means it's still on the basis of so many reasons that girl children are not welcomed in our country. This is a standing example. I don't know about Kerala, but in Tamil Nadu, we are still facing this problem in few selected districts. Then we are talking about rights, child rights. You know that this number explains or shows us that we are not talking about discrimination only. We don't want women. Now that is a very unique attitude for a country which calls all females as gods. We have so many gods, but when it comes to the family, and if you have a daughter, you don't want another daughter. So this is the state of mind. Next we come to IMR. IMR is the shows how healthy the children are and how many die for every 1,000 born. So IMR is 20. This is the national one. I think Kerala is a better performing state, and Tamil Nadu also. But still, the problem is it is there. And now under 5, it is 27. See that it is increasing. It is not decreasing. This increasing trend reflects to the lack of health facilities across the country for young children. Now, children below 5 years, they are dwarfs. Why? Because of lack of nutrition. Now, we are talking about a super country, and we are talking about our victories so many places. But see, our children do not get the necessary nutrition, and 38.4% of our population is dwarf. Now, how? This health is the basic foundation. And if we are still having gaps, now underweight children is below 5 is 35.8. Next slide, please. You will see what we are doing in education. All of us are aware of ICDS. Preschool education was one of the important components of ICDS. Now, let us take a quick check and see whether really these centers are providing quality preschool education. We have to say no. And they are more looked at as feeding centers. They come there for food, not for preschool education. That means it is commonly known that by 5 years, the children's brain development is almost complete. That is the time we will have to take care of them properly. Now, this is totally denied. And all their development during the phase of 3 to 5 or 0 to 5 is very important. And now you will have to find out how many Anganwadi centers are focusing on preschool education. Now, school enrollment, Tamil Nadu says 100% enrollment. I think Kerala also 100% enrollment. But still, a lot of pockets where children, their names are there on the register, but children are not coming to school regularly. What does that mean? Children below 5 years not coming into school in an area, in a time where we are communicating with online. And these children, they cannot even read and write. I think this is the gap, big gap that we have to fulfill. Now, this ACER report very clearly says reading ability in class 3 is 27.3% only, and reading skill in standard 8 is 73. Because of the all pass from class 1 to 8, the reading skill, nobody is giving any attention. Now, what happens after 8th standard is the most important story. The children drop out. The dropout rate increases after 8th standard, not because they are going to go in for vocational training, but because as you come to 9th and 10th, you will have to write, you will have to read. Their teachers become rather strict and demand certain academic work. But if you have been continuing without reading skill, without writing skill, how will they perform? So they become a dropout, and they are the people who either take on to criminal activities, they are loitering, and then they get into bad company, they start taking drugs. So it is the entire life of a child is totally ruined because we do not give basic, fundamental, quality education to our children. We only are supposed to be giving compulsory education. Now, in COVID environment, for the last year, they said that we will give them online coaching. Now, let us take a realistic stand. How many of our primary schools or how many of our schools, middle schools and high schools, have a computer system that is functioning? That is the school. We know either computer is there, the teacher is not there. Computer is there, it's not working. Or the teachers are there, machines are not there, computers are not there. And how many children can share one computer? But everywhere you will see that people are talking that we are doing online coaching, online teaching for the whole year. Now they don't even want to have an exam for the 12th. We will go back and take the marks into consideration. So we are now dealing with one generation of children without any coaching, and we want to test them. So I think this is totally not in favor of children. Now this is such a huge, 1 year, we thought we will overcome COVID, but looks like this second year also, it's going to be there because now they are talking about different variants. So we do not know when we will be really free, and the children have not been to school for 1 year. And those children who are dependent on the noon meal, they don't get food to eat. That's very important. Now, this being the case, we are talking about NEET all the time. For the last 2 years, we are talking about NEET. Now, that is only one exam for one profession. Maybe 13 lakhs children are writing for 80,000 seats. Okay, it's a competitive field, but is this our stand on education? You are so very concerned. All the media is speaking, the TV is fully talking about it. Politicians are saying anything. How are we going, when or how we are going to make other children? See, that is exactly the place where you can see a full-fledged form of discrimination. You need not go anywhere. Now, the whole country is looking at NEET. Now, you don't understand that, but for the very marginal, maybe 20%, maybe less also. We are talking about those two children, whereas the majority of the children are growing up in an area where they don't have school, where they are not being taught, and they are not being trained in any vocational skill. We are not talking about it. It does not come in any of the election manifesto. Now, that is real discrimination. Next slide, please. Yeah, we come to child protection. Child protection, as you can see, we have miles to go, miles to go. See, we have an act, child labor, and we have compulsory education. Combined with these two, there should not be any child up to 14 years working in our country. Now, you will see that this COVID, this little old data, not the last year's data. So last year and now, children who are there from very poor families who are not attending school, or since the schools are closed, they are unable to join the online class, but they are joining labor. That is exactly what has happened. This number is increasing. So this COVID is not really, it may not affect the children directly health-wise, but all other areas of the child's life is covered or is impacted. Now, crimes against children and see the child abuse cases in 1 year, 39,000. Now, this also includes child sexual abuse. Now, when we talk about child abuse, we are all the time talking about child sexual abuse only. There is the emotional abuse, there is the physical abuse. That means what? We are focusing on one aspect, and in that itself, we have 39,000 children who have been affected because of, and you don't know where their case are, whether they are alive, what type of relief has been extended to them. Now, in Tamil Nadu, we are having two major cases from school where the teachers have been abusing children. Now, whether the action has to be taken against the abusers, I have no doubt in that. But what I am saying is, why are we not teaching children? See, why are we not teaching children to protect themselves, to learn when to say no? These are some things that we'll have to teach our children, but we are not teaching. So this COVID has increased the extent of child abuse also. There is domestic abuse. They are seeing a lot of violence. Children get beaten up by the fathers or the others in the family. Due to so many reasons, it's only a displacement of anger that takes place. Everybody is cooped up in one little hut or in one little flat, and you are for over 1.5 years, we have been on and off this complete lockout, and everywhere the tension, psychological tension is palpable. And at homes, either the woman, the mother, or children get abused for no reason of them. So this is a very, very tragic situation that we are facing. Now, in spite of all this child trafficking is another area where we don't even have the exact statistics. So they get, the children are taken from villages to very many occasions. Some not so affecting the children. Some are very, very dangerous for children. Next, we have child marriage. Child marriage seems to be a social custom, acceptable, but we know that child marriage is not really right, and it does not favor a healthy development for an adolescent girl and who is going to become a future mother. So again, during COVID, two things have happened. Now, we don't have the entire data, that is the other part of it, but let us say that 2 or 3 areas where we should have protected our children, we have missed. First is child labor. So everywhere, the child might have been pledged also. We don't know about it. We don't have grassroots level data. But we know that the number of children who are pushed into labor has increased. Secondly, child marriage. I know it is prohibited, it is legally punishable, but still, so many child marriages have taken place. The number has shot up. And the only reason that the parents are giving, we are very scared. Something may happen to our daughter. So we are finalizing the marriage. You can't do anything about it. So everywhere, these are directly opposing the principles of child protection. And what are the preventive steps we are taking? Very minimal, very minimal. And the more you talk, people don't want to listen to. So but every day, almost every day, you see in the paper that one child one child here, one child there. Either they are adolescents who have run away, or younger child as young as 3 years, they get abused. Next slide, please. Now, this is the most tragic reflection of COVID. Now, you see so many people returning home. First, they thought this COVID will go 1 month, 2 months. Now, don't the employers have a responsibility to feed them? Has the state enforced some amount of responsibility to the employers to see that they get minimum food? It did not happen. So people trekked, people walked with their belongings, their children. You can see that hundreds and thousands of people walked. And this girl, she traveled down from Noida to her village in cycle, carrying her sick father. This is the most tragic thing. The mother is dead. She has to go to Hyderabad. Some railway station, they are waiting for the trains, and the little child next to her does not even know that. How, see, when this is a real, what they say is, this COVID migration is the second largest migration next to partition. Very, 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 what shall I say, neglectful way of treating children and adults. Now, who is responsible? You know that when they were trying to arrange trains, then the governments were busily arguing whose responsibility it is, whether it is center or state. And people are waiting with no food because everything is closed. They have no money, they have no food, they are waiting in the railway stations for trains. And we are happily debating whose responsibility it is. This is the most tragic event that has happened during COVID. I think we should become really insensitive to allow all these things. I don't know. Next slide, please. Okay. Now, this 142 million is a global number. What they say is the children will become poorer automatically. In Tamil Nadu, I think in the entire country, all the children who were in residential care centers were sent back home. I think from Tamil Nadu, about 12,000 or children were sent back to the families. Some children returned. That is the most important point. Some children returned because the family was not willing to keep them. They said, we ourselves have no food. Please take my son or please take my daughter. At least here she will get food. That is the state. And 150 million children, additional children will enter the multi. And remember, the first goal is eradicate poverty. So are we going towards reaching our goals? You put a big question mark, very big question mark. So this is now their first wave, they said children will not be affected. Okay. The second wave, they said children will not be affected, may be affected. We have to take proper precaution. Now we don't know. We don't know how many children and we don't know what to do because there is some amount of, because it is a new variety and because the doctors or the medical profession is taking time to understand. Now, by the time they understand, we are getting the third wave. This third wave, they say, that will affect children. Now, the first wave, when finished, we were not really prepared for the second wave. We were just taken unaware, so to say. We did not think that so many people will die. It will become a critical care scene for which we were not willing. No beds, no oxygen. We saw so many pathetic stories where, you could see in the media. But let us understand that this happened because we were not prepared. Now, as it is now, okay, the second wave, they are somehow battling. Now they are talking about the third wave, which says that it will affect children. So what is our preparation? What have we done? And they say that immunization, vaccination is the only thing it will reduce. Now the vaccines are not there. The vaccines now they say is up to adults. Children will not be able to take this vaccine. But the same thing the state says that third wave, if it comes, it will affect children. So you see that some children will be protected, but the most excluded children, the Dalits, the Adivasis, people living in hill stations, the orphan children, deserted children, street children, parents who are in their jail. We don't know how will we reach? We don't know. We have no answer. And we don't have a plan of action. That is the most important thing. Next slide, please. Okay. Now comes the role of social workers. Now, I don't know, maybe I am wrong, but generally social workers, the figure that we all have is a kurta and a long bag. I think now it should change because all that we spoke about cannot be one by one tackled. We need to have a policy. We need to have changes in the system. So you are the people who can bring about. So you can either take up advocacy, networking. All these are very important at a policy level. And young social workers like you who have the zeal to work and to create a change, you can. This is a very important area, although we do not really see much of it. But you need, because these are people who advocate changes, must have all information. Same thing with child rights defenders. We must be able to defend. We must be able to defend our stand, and our stand is with children, their needs, their aspirations, their health. Are we doing that? Okay, then you have a education, research. See, we don't have proper data. We don't have field level reports. I don't know how you will see, but as I see, one major gap in social workers is their inability to document. That seems to be, I have seen so many excellent workers, but you ask them to write a report on that, they will not be able to do. I think this is one area where the colleges also have to focus. And we need more information from the field. These small need-based research, small reports, assessments are very important for planning. Or else planning takes place automatically based on some other data, and that data does not really reflect the field situation. So this education and research is very important. And this knowledge can also be used for creating advocacy materials. Materials that are in local language, that are understandable by a common person. That is the type of material we need. We don't need a ultra theoretical based literature, which is useful in a college, but this should be converted, okay, and implement this. Then you come to working in the field, service delivery. This is the largest area where the social workers must make a difference wherever you are. This is one area where you have to take care and see that your work is professional, is objective, and it is always goal related. So this is a very important area. A lot of opportunities are being created now. I should say that when we all finished social work, we didn't have so many opportunities. People did not know. The area was very, very different. But now everybody wants, at every level, we need social workers, because social workers are also attuned to work at the field level. So we are very easy to establish a relationship. We can do community-based programs. So this is a very, very important area where you are directly part of a service delivery program. And efficient service delivery is what is expected for children. Now, the Juvenile Justice Act after 2015 Act has come into being. A lot of openings are being created for professional workers. Now there are the DCPOs are there. Every DCPU, there need to be 4 social workers, different type of cadre, and there is both the Juvenile Justice Board and CWC. They have to have volunteers. Now we don't mean by volunteers, they are not government staff. So, but then they are being taken care of. This is a very great opportunity, and I think that we should make use of it and show that a professional understanding is very important for service delivery. But always let us say that we work within the child rights framework. We will not do anything which is not against the rights of children. I think this is the broad framework for all social workers, for whatever work that you do. This is the focal point. So I think with this, I will conclude. I think I have taken a little more time. If it had been a regular program in physically situations, you would have, the bell, the reminder would have reached me. Thank you for giving me an opportunity.
Now is the time for a brief Q&A session. Participants can unmute themselves and ask or type the queries in the chat box. If no one has any...
Hello.
Yes.
Vishnu, Girija ma'am, could you talk about your organization, Sankalp, a little bit about that organization?
About Sankalp?
Yeah.
Actually, Sankalp, now we have merged it with Indian Council for Child Welfare. And so it is part of, that is specifically for educating girl children. It is the sponsorship support. And we have been not only for school level children, but also those who are continuing their higher studies. So it's a sponsorship program.
Okay.
If there is no more queries and all, then we can move on. So thank you, ma'am, for your enlightening us with some valuable information and giving us a vivid picture of the tragic situation faced by the child population in our society, giving us this wonderful, insightful session. Dr. Gigi George is a postgraduate in social work from Rajagiri College of Social Sciences, worked as a counselor at Adoption Coordinating Agency, and has a PG diploma in HRM from IGNOU. She was the social work educator for the past 14 years and was awarded PhD in 2012 from MG University. She received the Best YRC Program Officer Award, Ernakulam District. Her interest areas are adoption counseling, child care management, adolescent sexuality, environment, and waste management. It is my pleasure to invite Dr. Gigi George, Assistant Professor, Department of Social Work, Rajagiri College of Social Sciences, to propose the vote of thanks for our resource person, Dr. Girija Kumar Babu. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, warm good evening, one and all present here. Respected Girija ma'am, Dr. Father M.K. Joseph, Head of Department of Social Work, dear faculty colleagues, participants, and dear students. So it is my pleasant task to propose the vote of thanks to our chief guest, Mrs. Girija Kumar Babu, who was the former secretary for the Indian Council of Child Welfare. We have heard from her presentation, her commitment for the cause of promoting the rights of children and especially girl children. And I was really amazed while going through your profile, ma'am. Such a prolific, such a commitment towards the cause of children and human rights. So that was really encouraging, and that was evident throughout your speech also. And thanking you, ma'am, for spending your valuable time for our budding social workers. And we hope that you will be available for us for our future collaboration as a mentor for our college. And we would like to have more collaborative work with your ICCW Tamil Nadu and also your organization. You have told that now it is merged into ICCW. So thanking you once again, ma'am, for spending your valuable time for our students and hoping to see you in person sometime.
Yes,
thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you.
And I also especially thank our HOD, Dr. Father M.K. Joseph, who is there throughout, supporting us and inspiring us for all our small and big activities of the department and also of the college. Thank you very much, Father Joseph.
Thank you very much.
I also especially thank Dr. Anil John, who proposed the welcome address. Thank you, dear Anil. And thank you all the participants for patiently attending the conference and wishing you a very fruitful sessions to come on. Okay, thank you all. Wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for extending your sincere thanks to our dear resource person. I also thank our Principal, Dr. Binoy Joseph, Dr. Father Joseph M.K., HOD, Social Work Department, and all other esteemed faculties for their valuable tips. We now move on to the breakout rooms for presentations. Before that, we have a few instructions. All participants are requested to maintain the decorum of the conference. All the participants are requested to rename themselves with their respective breakout room number and full name. Example, Matthew. Participants are requested not to unmute themselves unless necessary. Chat will be disabled during the session. Participants may personally message the co-host. Co-hosts will be shared in their respective breakout rooms by the technical team. Feedback link will be provided towards the end of the session only. Kindly avoid demanding for the feedback link in the chat box. Participation certificate will be provided only for those participants who attend the conference for 2 days. All participants are requested to join their respective breakout rooms by clicking on the breakout rooms icon on the lower right side of the screen. If any of the presenters join the wrong breakout room, you can click on Ask for Help button at the upper left side of the screen and the host will help you. Thanks.